Greetings and welcome back to another shark-infested episode of It's Always Sunny in Hollywood. And we are your usual suspects. My name is Patrick.
My name is Red.
And I'm Lugi, and I believe we are treading through familiar waters this time.
Indeed, this is the first time we're talking about the sequel to a movie we've already talked about.
Yeah.
Exciting.
When was...
So this is
When
the
did we
first,
do
sequel
Jaws?
episode.
Jaws was last summer.
Damn.
Mhm.
Ah,
I think that was your pick, too.
It was my pick.
I guess next year we'll have to do Jaws 3.
We might. I'll be honest, I'm not too compelled at the moment to get to Jaws 3. Well, that could change. I mean, I wasn't compelled to talk about Jaws 2 after we talked about the original, but the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, actually, I'm curious. So, we'll see.
Yeah, but Jaws 3 is in the third dimension.
Jaws
I know,
3D. That's
Yeah,
literally
Jaws
what it's
3D.
marketed as.
I don't have a 3D TV.
Oh, yeah, neither do I. So you know the library? I
No,
was
what's a
there
library? What is a
Yeah, sorry,
library?
Okay, no,
Those
our local
exist.
library. I was there the other day, and I saw a DVD for Shrek 3D, the old Universal thing, and then I went through it, and it has
The red and blue glasses?
yeah, it had the red and blue glasses, and I was like,
Huh.
I was like, man, I wonder if we could find a copy of Jaws 3D with the red and blue glasses.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's the intended
That's-
experience.
That's neither here nor there. We're not
Yeah.
entering the third dimension yet. We're still in the second dimension.
With Jaws 2D.
Oh.
Indeed. Jaws 2, The Rise of Gru.
What if there's any 3D movies? When I think of 3D, for some reason my mind just goes to Spy Kids 3D.
I think of Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
I mean, same director, so yeah.
I know. I remember seeing Shark Boy and Lava Girl when I was younger. I think I saw it twice, actually.
I
There's-
remember
I have-
watching it. I don't remember too much about it, though. Aside
Nor
from
do
the
I.
Dream song.
Yeah, I remember Shark Boy and Lava Girl. I saw Spy Kids 3D. Never saw the first two Spy Kids movies, so all I know about Spy Kids is 3 and 4, which are apparently not the good entries. Yeah, 4 had this 40 gimmick, so when I was in theaters, they gave us a scratch and sniff card.
I remember that. I still have that scratch and sniff somewhere. I don't know
Yeah.
where, though.
Did they tell
It's
you
an
when to
elevator.
sniff them?
Yeah,
there
at certain
were
points in the
numbers that
movie.
came up. There were numbers that came up on screen that told you, all right, you need to scratch. Like, the dog farted. Scratch number 4.
God, Robert Rodriguez is such a weird director because his career started making violent, low budget action movies. He's Tarantino's best friend. So it's so weird that he made kids movies afterwards. So news wise, apparently some Sega shit, right?
Yeah. So Sega has announced that the Sega Cinematic Universe will be a thing. They didn't say that, but I'm just doing that for fun. So apparently, not only are we getting a third Sonic movie, but potentially we are also going to get a Comic Zone and Space Channel 5 movie.
Really?
I'm not too familiar with Comic Zone, but I did play through Space Channel 5, and I could only see that working as a musical.
I'm down.
I think it'd be funny if they made a Crazy Taxi movie, and it's
I want a Crazy Taxi movie.
and it's shot exactly like Baby Driver, but they make it
Yeah.
I don't know, there's a guy.
Well, I told you guys, I think the closest we'll get to one is that one scene in Die Hard 3 where they're riding the taxi.
Yeah.
That was all. That was my favorite scene in the movie.
Let's see, there's
Maybe in
what's
the
another
year
Sega-
2030, we'll finally get our Sega Bass Fishing
Yeah.
movie.
Let's see, what's another Sega
About
franchise
damn
that'd be
time.
Apparently Persona's a Sega franchise, but those already have movies, so I guess those don't count.
Bayonetta as well.
Yeah, because Persona 3 is it's not a movie trilogy, it's like a movie quadrilogy. It's they just adapted the game into 4 films, which is
I'm sorry. I'm
Interesting.
thinking of Sega franchises. I'm just going through. Okay, who was in Sonic All Stars Racing?
Knights.
Yeah.
Sorry, because most of those franchises aren't really a thing anymore.
Billy Hatcher,
Yeah.
can't forget
I
him.
was just thinking,
Yes,
how would a Billy
Eggman.
Hatcher movie work?
yes, eggs.
Freaking boy.
I feel like Yakuza would probably be the easiest one to adapt to a
That's
game,
one of
right?
their more popular ones, yeah.
Yeah, and
Super Monkey Ball.
it's Yakuza movies, are a thing. They're like mob movies. I've seen plenty of Yakuza movies.
Is it Yakuza or Yakuza?
I say Yakuza.
Yeah, I don't think.
Tomato, I guess.
Yeah, imagine they made a Frogger movie. That'd be crazy.
They made a bunch of 3D Frogger games.
Yeah. I know they did make initial D movies, which is I mean, Initial D is like an anime series, but like there's a lot of Initial D games from Sega. So, have you guys seen Breaking Bad?
You
No,
ask us this every single week, and we always say no.
Listen,
I don't even
you
then.
can
I don't
fit-
think we're gonna binge it in a week's time.
you can watch the show in a week. I'm just saying. All right, I've done that before. Okay, but whatever. Better Call Saul ended, so features. I guess you'd know him from Nobody, I guess, because you don't know him from Mr. Show. So, yeah, Bob Odenkirk. All right, just quick thing. If you ever get around to both, definitely watch both. Watch Breaking Bad first, but I think this last season of Better Call Saul might be the best season in the entire franchise. And I do think the ending is better than Breaking Bad. In fact, this might be the best TV show finale ever, which is I guess like not saying much because I can't think of many good TV show finales, but like this whole show's good. This it ended perfectly. So like this is like a Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, perfect shows. Well, almost. I have issues with Breaking Bad finale, but perfect shows. Um, I can't think of another show who I think his finale is perfect. Sopranos, I guess. I don't know. What's your favorite TV show finale?
Uh,
Ed and Eddie's Big Picture Show.
Let's
Oh.
go.
Legit, I think the Ed and Eddie is that whole show is pretty perfect. Because like all the other like show finales, I think are perfect, are like the ones that were intended as a show finale. But then the show just kept going on, like I don't know, Channel Chasers or the SpongeBob movie or what? How many? There's so many Simpson episodes that could have been like a finale. Same with Futurama. Oh, Futurama. That's my pick because I think the actual Futurama finale is pretty good. I know the show's continuing, but I can just pretend it didn't.
so do we head to the beach now?
Why not?
I mean, yeah, you guys.
What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's jump right into the water again. So, Jaws 2 was directed by Jano Schwark. I'm pretty sure I butchered that name, but I'll just call him JS. It was directed by JS, who previously directed Bug, which released the same year as the first Jaws, 1975. And afterwards, he would go on to direct Supergirl and Santa Claus the Movie.
So not a great track record from this guy. I have heard that his movie Somewhere in Time is pretty good. So, but his other movies have not the most well received.
I don't know anything about any of these. I've heard of Supergirl, but I don't know anything about it.
Supergirl's like infamously bad. It's like
That I know, but I don't know why it's anyway.
yeah.
Regardless, Jaws 2, much like with the first film, it's quite the crazy production, but I'm just gonna keep it brief, talk about the really crazy stuff. So, to start from the beginning, after Jaws became a worldwide phenomenon, Universal wanted a sequel, but Spielberg did not, and there's two reasons. One, he felt he had already made the definitive shark movie with the first film, and there was no way he could top it. And two, considering the nightmare he went through making the first film, there was no way he was doing that again. So, with no Spielberg, directing duties were given to John D. Hancock originally. Yeah, like with the first Jaws, Spielberg wasn't the original director, and Jano Schwark wasn't the original director here. It was John D. Hancock, best known for directing Bang the Drum Slowly. But he was fired after 1 month of filming, and the reason why, according to him, is due to, quote, company politics, unquote. So he was replaced with Jano Schwark. But Spielberg wasn't the only one who didn't want a Jaws sequel. Roy Scheider also had absolutely no interest in returning, but he was contractually obligated. And, okay, Roy Scheider notoriously hated working on this movie. Not only did he get into fights with the director, one time even getting confrontational, but he was so desperate to get out of production, he trashed his hotel room to make the producers think that he was insane.
Jesus.
Jesus is right. He wanted nothing to do with this. But these attempts failed. He was in the movie.
I'm guessing that's
And
why
he was forced to. Like, he had no way out.
He was contractually obligated. He had to do it.
I'm guessing that's why his character is written out of the next two sequels.
I guess. But
yeah, not a fan of these movies. Okay, cool.
two other interesting things is that there were two story ideas originally pitched that were rejected, and I find both of these quite fascinating. The original idea was to make a prequel that would have shown the story of Quint's shark fighting days in the war, based on the famous monologue from the first movie. I think that would have been cool. But this was rejected because the executives didn't want a prequel. They wanted a sequel. They wanted a continuation. And the other idea came from the original director, John D. Hancock, which would have had a more dour tone. It would have been about the financial struggles of Amity after the shark attacks hurt the town's reputation. But this was rejected because of how much it differed in tone compared to the original.
Hmm.
What do you guys think? You think either of these would have been good?
Considering
really.
that Robert Shaw's performance was one of my favorite parts about the first movie, I would love to see that prequel idea.
You know, kind of like a Rogue One of Jaws
Yeah,
movies.
something like
Make
that.
a whole movie based upon like a section of dialogue.
It just
I'm
needs
gonna
like
be
a little
honest,
more.
I don't think any of these ideas would have worked. In my opinion.
I mean, the second idea with the financial struggle, that's a unique idea, but again, that seems too far removed. I can see why they rejected that.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be funny if like they read the script and they were just like, "Where the hell is the shark?" It was like, "Oh
Yeah, I'm
shit,
like-
a shark!
like-
I forgot
like,
about that."
Yeah, like where do you fit the shark into the second one or the second
Yeah.
idea? I don't know, but
Loan sharks.
oh my god, that's good. I
Uh,
like that. I like that a lot. But anyway, to wrap up, like with the first film, production was plagued with issues of getting the shark to work. Filming went over budget and over schedule, all that stuff. If you want to know more about the production history, there's a really good YouTube video by Leighton Eversole that really gets into the nitty-gritty. It's quite fascinating.
Yeah.
But I'm just going over basic stuff. Jaws 2 released on June 16th, 1978. The same day as Grease, actually. That's interesting. It received mixed reviews, and while it wasn't a monster hit like the first film, it did gross a pretty good amount, 77 million on its initial run against a budget of 30 million, which at the time made it the highest grossing sequel. So through re-releases as of 2022, the box office total is 208 million. Still less than the original, but not bad for a $30 million film. I guess plot synopsis now?
Yeah.
Unless you guys have anything to add.
No, I just find that really interesting though. I'll definitely leave a link in the description. I also want to see that video for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send you that.
yeah.
So-
I find it just one more casting thing. Apparently, Roy Schneider,
Scheider.
Scheider, yeah.
Schneider.
He quit the role of Michael Vronsky, the deer hunter, 2 weeks before the start of filming because of like creative differences.
Yeah,
Which
and
is why he was
Universal
available
said-
for this.
Yeah, Universal said, you didn't do Deer Hunter. Do Jaws 2.
Yeah, but I find it funny, man. He must wish they did the Deer Hunter because that movie is considered like one of the greatest like Vietnam War movies of all time. It won the act. I'm pretty sure De Niro got his like first Oscar because of it.
Hmm.
So it's like, man, it must
I
have been
wonder-
sour,
I-
especially
I don't
since
know.
because he hated this movie, and then like the movie he dropped out for ended up becoming like this like widely considered a masterpiece that won like all these awards.
We all
Yeah,
make
but-
wrong choices in life.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Also find it
So-
interesting that Richard Dreyfuss, he didn't return to this movie because Spielberg wasn't directing. So he got
Actually,
out of it.
he was in, at the time, Spielberg was working on Close Encounters, and he was in that.
Yes,
So
that's a good movie.
it is a good movie. So, plot synopsis of Jaws 2. It's a few years after the first film. Another shark has come to Amity, and Chief Brody is on the case. We got another shark in town.
Yeah,
So-
this movie kind of screams second verse, same as the first, albeit with some differences. It's about saving a bunch of lost kids. That's it.
Yeah, the third act, I'd say the third act is where this movie really starts to fully differentiate itself. It's a much different ending. But the first 2/3, it does tread familiar water.
Yeah, I thought I guess Brody getting fired and him the paranoid. That was like an interesting element. Here's what I'm gonna say. So I found it interesting that you thought I found it interesting when you mentioned that Scheider
Schneider.
did not want to show up in this movie because I thought he gave it his all. Like, I'm gonna be
Oh,
honest.
absolutely.
His
Yeah.
performance was easily the best part of the movie to me.
Absolutely. Like, you'd never tell that he was absolutely miserable. He is giving 100%.
Yeah, like here's the thing, like I thought like the first like half hour of this movie was the most boring shit. But once like it gets going, I was like, I didn't hate it cuz while I didn't like any of like the supporting characters or like any of like the real supporting elements, Scheider like had a few scenes where I was just like, this is actually kind of compelling, he played it like, he had like trauma from the first film and I was like,
Yeah.
that's
He feels like
that made it
Yeah,
it
after
feels-
what he
it feels
experienced,
like
he
the
better
events of
have
the
some.
first film. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's like interesting. It's like I don't know. As much as like
I'll
the
admit-
Die Hard sequels, McClane is not playing it like he has trauma. So like I was like, oh, that's the one way to actually make it feel like a sequel by like his character.
Yeah, I'll admit this wasn't bad. I wouldn't call it great. It doesn't hold a candle to the first film, but as a Jaws sequel, it could have been way worse. I mean, it has been way worse.
It was
I haven't
okay.
seen 2 or 3, but it's an okay, acceptable sequel.
Yeah, here's what I have to say. I don't think it's a good movie, but because of the performance and because I thought there were like two set pieces in this movie that I actually thought were like pretty good. Yeah, my time wasn't wasted.
Yeah.
It was enjoyable.
Yeah, like this isn't a must-watch by any means, but if you're curious how the Jaws story continues, it's okay.
There's not
I mean,
really much of a story to continue, if I'm being real. But I mean, hey,
Yeah, there really isn't. But I mean,
It's not awful.
I can tell these
Yeah.
people are trying.
You can definitely tell though the director is not as skilled as Spielberg. The fact that this movie costs 3 times as much as the original Jaws, and it looks noticeably worse, should tell you a lot that the direction was not a highlight of this film.
I will say there is one thing this movie improves from the original: the mayor's
Yeah.
fashion sense. In the
Um,
first film, he had this really tacky suit with anchors, and here I'm like, oh, he actually looks decent. He's wearing a decent suit.
I thought the shark was really funny in this movie, just because like it felt like they just made like the shark like a bigger asshole. When like in the first movie, it felt like it was kind of like almost like a force of nature. But this one was just like, nah, this shark is just like a prick.
it takes down a helicopter.
Okay, yeah, this movie does get pretty ridiculous at point. It takes down a freaking helicopter. It tries to tip over a boat in the beginning to get a girl out.
Yeah, I saw like a
This movie
review.
gets pretty silly.
I saw a review comparing it to like one of the Friday the 13th sequels. I'm like, yeah, this is like
That
like
does
the
make sense. I mean, the shark's face is half burnt, so
How do we continue to shit on these kids' day? Shark comes back, baby.
if we're talking about the kids for a second, yeah, these guys are no replacement for whoever from the first movie.
yeah.
I was not a fan of these kids.
And the loss of the supporting cast of the original movie is definitely like the biggest blow because
Yeah, because Jaws 1 had such great, memorable characters. Like, you want to have a drink with these guys, like Quint, Hooper. Like, you want to sit
Literally.
down and hear their story. I mean, you did hear
Yeah.
their story. These
on
kids,
this one it just felt
I
like
don't remember anything about them.
here's the thing.
Aside from that, they're
Part of-
assholes.
Yeah, part of me thinks like I wouldn't consider like the first Jaws like a slasher movie. This movie is a slasher movie. Like it felt like a classic slasher thing. Dumb teens getting killed by some like weird force of nature that should definitely be dead but isn't for some reason.
Yeah,
like,
and
yeah.
the third act fully hinges on you wanting these kids to survive, and I don't know enough about them to care. I mean, I care about Mike, but that's because he's Chief Brody's son.
And he's also a
Otherwise-
dumbass.
Yeah, otherwise I don't know these kids' names. They're pretty bland.
I
did
mean,
think
there
that
was Tina,
There was
Sean.
I can't
That's
remember
about
the-
it.
I can't remember the names, but that one girl, like when Brody like came to save her, you could see her like traumatized and stuff. I was like, okay, that was a surprisingly like decent bit of acting, so
Yeah,
that made me
okay.
care.
Yeah, they're not awful. They're not annoying. They didn't get under my skin. It's just I have nothing really to say about them.
I did think like the set pieces were fine for the most part. They're okay.
Actually, I did like that one scene in the beginning where that guy is jumping in and out of the water, and you think the shark's gonna get him because they build up the music. But no, the guy jumps out like right when the shark is about to get him. I thought that was good.
I did enjoy that fake out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be honest though, my favorite part of the movie is when Brody just freaks out and like he takes out his revolver and starts shooting.
shooting at the
Yes,
water.
and the blue fish.
Yeah, when he got like fired, I was like that's just like an insane scene. I know this wasn't intentional, but it felt like a good mix of like genuine like horror, but like also comedy. Because I was getting like the movie was going for, but I was also laughing like the same time.
That was good, but I feel like the scene where he shows the council the photograph, I feel like that should have come before the bluefish scene. Because I think like he should go to the council, show them the photograph, they dismiss it, but he's fully convinced, so he goes on stand the next day. I don't know, I feel like that would have flowed better in my mind, because here it's after it.
Especially
it felt
since
weird.
it makes a lot more sense to fire someone for shooting a gun.
Yeah, like fire
in the
him
water.
directly on the beach, and he's like miserable about it. It's like a bit of an emotional moment. And
I do find it funny though how it has absolutely no effect him getting fired, because like the guy that replaces him is just his friend, and the friend's like, well, they can't fire both of us. I was like, all right.
actually, that guy,
That's a good homie, but like
that guy Jeff, some of his line delivery was honestly hilarious. Like when he's in the boat with the old man and they pull up the electric wire, he's like, "Oh, let's get out of here before we do find something."
yeah, I kind of wish we had more of him, because he was the only supporting character that like
He was in like
I liked.
4 scenes, I think.
Yeah. I like how
I remember him. He did something right.
The mayor felt like a bit more like corny one-note villainy here, but he also like felt like he had a much smaller presence here than the first movie. So
He also felt much nicer to Brody. I mean, taking the events of the first film in mind, I do feel like there is a change in their relationship.
That didn't stop him from getting fired.
Well, actually, there's a deleted scene. I read there's a deleted scene where they're showing the council voting if they want to keep Brody or not, and the mayor's the only one who votes to keep him in.
Oh.
But they cut that because apparently it slowed down the film's pacing. But I don't know. I felt like that would have been a good thing to keep.
yeah, I'm going to
They
be honest.
absolutely
This
should have
film's
kept
pacing is like, I don't know.
Also, the whole thing with Brody
yeah,
wanting
go
his son to get a job had nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, it was a.
He says,
kind of-
"Get a summer job," but that you could take that out and nothing changes.
Lorraine Gary, she was fine as Ellen Brody.
Ellen Brody, yeah, she has a much bigger role here, and I thought she was good.
Yeah, makes sense why apparently Jaws 4 she's the main character.
Oh.
Yeah.
No idea who's in Jaws 3. But yeah.
It might be a completely different cast altogether.
It might be.
No, it's another Brody. It's like
Oh.
It is? It is?
Dennis Quaid plays Mike Brody in
Wait, Michael's
Jaws
in
3.
Jaws 3? I didn't know that. I thought Jaws 3 was a completely different cast. Because I know Jaws 4
It is a different cast.
But I know
Dennis Quaid is playing Mike Brody.
I know Jaws 4 ignores the events of 3. So I didn't know if it was inconsequential to the Brody family or not.
It's an alternate timeline.
I guess. I don't know. It's the Cars 2 of Jaws films. It's the one that you don't need to see.
Yeah, but Cars 2 is also like hilarious. Like if Jaws 3D is anything like Cars 2, I need to watch Jaws 3D. Like, oh my god, the first movie is like Doc Hollywood, and the second one's like a James Bond pastiche.
And the third film is Rocky, at least one of them.
Yeah, well, Creed, I'd say, or Balboa. I don't know, one of those two.
Something. It's a film in. Anyway, back to Jaws.
Now I'm trying to think like what would be the best like way to do a Jaws sequel. Like just make the camp just go full force. Make like the shark have like a personality, like just being like a mustache twirling villain.
No, do what Family Guy suggested. Bigger Jaws.
No.
Jaws and bigger Jaws.
Kaiju Jaws.
Leg is? Oh, so be like be like the Godzilla movies, where like
Yeah.
Jaws becomes a defender of the lake. I mean, becomes a defender of like the beach, to protects the beach from bigger threats. Okay. One thing I thought was kind of funny was like when the dude was like, "Oh, she wouldn't be staring at me because I suck," and then just lists all the reasons he sucks, and then his turn was like, "Okay, yeah, I guess he wasn't staring at you." I don't know.
Actually, one other thing at the beginning of the movie, it's the grand opening of a new hotel. I thought that was going to tie into something. Like, there's a big new hotel, but then a shark comes and they're losing money. They're like, "Well, we just opened this hotel. We got to make our money back."
Which
I felt like that would have tied into something, but no, it's just They never
Yeah.
reference
Go
it.
kill the shark.
Like, it's funny that they introduced something that's like very clearly trying to retread like the financial element of the first movie, but then they just don't address it. It was like, okay.
Or it could be a reference to one of the original drafts, the financial stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie establishes things that either don't get developed or they're mostly pointless. But again, it sounds like we're really ripping this movie. It's not awful. It's not even bad.
You can
It's
still
just-
enjoy your time with
Yeah,
it.
it
Just
is the most
not as much as the
mid-movie
first
ever
movie.
existed. It's
Again,
it's just mid.
it's an
Um,
acceptable sequel.
Yeah.
It has its moments here and there.
I don't recommend it. Like, I think it's a fine movie, but I don't recommend it though. Just watch the original, and then watch it again if you wanted to watch it again. But like, yeah, it's a
Again,
If
it's not. This isn't an
Yeah.
absolute must watch, but it's harmless.
putting my mind into like a person seeing this in 1978. If I paid money to see this in theaters in 1978, I'd feel like I got my money's worth. But yeah, nowadays though, I don't see a point in just in watching this. But again, didn't feel like my time was wasted. Wouldn't recommend other people watch it though.
Notice the movie ends very similarly too. The shark dies, and then the credits roll like a minute afterwards. I think that's
Yeah.
just the best way to sum up this movie. It's Jaws 1, but kind of worse.
It's
Yeah,
Diet Jaws. It's Diet Jaws.
There you go.
Yeah. Although the bigger Jaws idea that you got me thinking about is like, have you guys heard of the Meg, the
Yes.
2018 movie?
No.
Like maybe instead of Jaws 3D next year, we watch the Meg, bigger
Maybe.
Jaws.
Or Sharknado.
I don't know. Maybe that'll be a tradition. Every summer we need to talk about a shark
A
movie.
shark movie, yeah.
A shark movie.
What's that one that's literally just porn? Psycho Shark?
What?
What?
That's a what?
What?
I don't
What
know
did
how
you
to
say?
explain it,
What?
but it
How-
exists.
Tell me the story of how you came across this movie.
And I hate everything video.
Oh, okay. That was short
Okay.
and less exciting than I thought it would be.
Yeah. Okay, we can talk about Shark Exorcist, Sharkenstein, Mega Shark versus Mecha Shark. These are actual movies. I'm not fucking with you.
I came
Mega
across a movie
Shark,
once.
Mega Shark is a franchise too.
I came across a movie once. It was I didn't watch it, but I saw like a cover for it. It was Sharktopus versus Whale Wolf.
Excuse me?
Sharktopus versus
Shark-
Now
Whale Wolf.
I'm gonna need you to
Shark-
explain the
No, here's
origin
the
of how
thing.
you came across that.
Sharktopus is a franchise, by the way.
What?
That's
It
a
is?
sequel. No, this is a
Jesus.
trilogy. There's Sharktopus, there's Sharktopus versus Whale Wolf, and then the third entry is Sharktopus versus Terracuda? Just like, I don't know.
How have I
Yeah,
never
yeah.
heard of this
Guys,
before?
Guys, we're omitting the most famous of them all, Sharknado.
I just mentioned
for sure.
Sharknado.
You did?
I
Um,
did.
Let's see. There's Jurassic Shark. There's sand sharks, which I'm guessing is like meant to be like Tremors. I
Yeah.
remember as a kid, like my favorite shark movie was just like the classic those documentaries on Discovery where it would be like, oh, the prehistoric sharks or whatever. But yeah.
So anyway, yeah, Jaws 2. Perfectly okay.
Yeah. So I guess if you like Jaws 2, watch Jaws 1.
Watch the
Yes.
first movie.
Watch the
Yeah.
first two.
Maybe watch the Meg. I haven't seen the Meg, so I have no idea how that is, but I've heard it was really stupid.
From what I hear, it's a ripoff of Jaws.
Yeah, but I also heard like, yeah, a lot of like, I don't know, a lot of like these Jason Statham like rock movies are just kind of rip off. Cause like, you ever Skyscraper? I heard that's just like
Die
similar
Hard.
to the Meg. It's just Die Hard but bigger. And I was like, okay,
Oh yeah. I mean, again, Jaws is kind of responsible for, the mindset we have of sharks today as killing machines.
yeah,
But sharks are not killing machines. I mean, they harm people, but
if you leave it alone,
They
it's
don't
going to
attack
be fine.
helicopters in real life.
I think
Yeah.
I think I said in the original Jaws episode, the author of the book devoted the rest of his life to preserving sharks because he
Yeah.
felt bad for the negative impact it had. But yeah, anything else to add?
No,
6 out of 10.
I gave it a 5 out of 10.
I give it an okay. I can finally sleep at night knowing that I've seen Jaws 2 and that it's fine.
Yes.
As I told you
Now.
guys, this was on my list for the entire summer basically, and here we are, tail end of summer. Finally got to it.
Yes, and my recommendation
Indeed.
is up next now.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Here's a funny thing. Did not plan this. I just was always planning on doing this movie. But Roy Scheider is also the main character of this film. So I guess we're
Well,
gonna have
how
to
did you do?
two back-to-backs of Scheider.
Double dose of Scheider.
Yes. This is a musical directed
Ooh.
by
Okay.
Bob Fosse, who's probably best known for his work in theater, but he also directed Cabaret. And this movie won the Palme d'Or, which is the most prestigious award in film. One of my favorite movies. I'd give it like a, I don't know, 9 or a 10 out of 10. I don't know. I think it's great. So it is called All That Jazz from 1979. So actually, literally like the year right after this. So
I've heard of this
Yeah.
movie before.
yeah.
I think I have too. I know the song from Chicago, All That Jazz.
Yeah. I don't know. You definitely The Incredibles made a reference to this movie at one point
Really?
with the Showtime. You know how
Okay.
yeah, Better Call
Okay.
Saul references this too, but yeah. Bob Fosse, great director. Saw his movie Lenny and Star 80. He's and yeah, this is one of my favorites, one of my friend's favorites. I just always wanted to talk about it. I think this is one of the best musicals ever made, so I figured this would be fun. It's definitely going to be a bit of more of the surreal stuff that I tend to show you guys, so be prepared for that. But I think you
Okay.
guys might like it. Yeah. So yeah, you have an outro?
Smile, you son of a bitch. No, wait, what does he say in this one? Open wide.